Hi LACs, I'm just making a quick video to show you the new features within SEQTA unit planners. So you just follow me gently on the screen. So I've got here Amanda Peterson's timetable. I'm going to click, like the usual function, click on her timetable. I'll come along to the unit planner and I'll just paste here a LAC Preview. So you'll see it looks slightly different. All that I've changed from her original planner here was that I've simply changed the template at the top. So you'll see in the LAC Preview that I have the GSLC MYP unit planner. The top looks very similar, so we simply place our key and letter concepts in as per usual. We can select and add our objectives for each subject. We copy and paste our global context and area of exploration in here, and our statement of inquiry. The difference is that we've now got specific sections for each part of the unit planner, so it follows a logical sequence according to the inquiry that the MYP has given us. So all we simply do is we come here and we pop our factual inquiry questions in here. To help people write their factual inquiry questions, they click the little plus button. I've placed prompts in each of these sections to help people along each step of the actual process. So there's our factual inquiry question section, there's our conceptual inquiry question section, and here is our debatable inquiry question section. Then as we come down, you'll see here I've placed specific boxes in for the IB and IB skill category, MYP skill cluster, and the ATL learning experiences. I'm currently now working with SEQTA to get these in the right order. Things appear to be correct on our end, and I'm just about to have a phone call with the SEQTA people in about 20 minutes to see how I can fix this, because this is actually meant to be over here and that's meant to be there. That's the logical sequence. However, when we print the unit planner out, it comes out in the logical order. So you'll see here the IB skill category, MYP skill cluster, then the specific learning experiences from each of these categories and clusters. So once again, that can just be popped in there. The question mark gives prompts. I've actually put pages to the principles into practice to help people understand that as well, and a guide as to what comes in that section too. So I'll just make sure that's correct. Once again. Okay, then we come down here and we have our assessment task section. So like normal, we simply place our MYP objectives. We then describe the assessment task and we then link it back to the statement of inquiry. Like so, on the actual printed out version it's in the right order: objectives, description of task, relationship with statement of inquiry. SEQTA just needs to fix that last little glitch. However, it will still go in as normal, and then it will just simply swap and change as we update the unit planner in the background. Once again, I've gone through and I've simply placed what needs to happen in this, or what needs to be placed in these sections. I'll try to keep the prompts quite simple and straightforward for people. Little questions to ask along the way as well, just to make sure we're being fully inquiry-based and open-ended and rigorous as well. Here we have our content surrounding curriculum that we simply add in here from our skills and content scope and sequence documents. I'll put locations to where these are kept, and also obviously a notation these are collaboratively mapped and organised within our learning area meetings. I've also added a learner profile focus. So I've added here that we select either one or two learner profile attributes that this MYP inquiry unit will provide our students with an opportunity to develop the characteristics of. I've added them all down here, a little blurb of the place and the purpose of the learner profile. And when these are printed out, it comes off with the actual content, then the learner profile focus on the side. So it's a clear little journey, learner profile coming back to that learner profile through some of the content that we're exploring. I've then come along here and we've actually got our columns for learning experiences, differentiation and formative assessment. Normally we have 4 columns here with our content, learning experiences, formative assessment and differentiation. However, SEQTA will only allow us to have 32 sections, so I've had to make that content and learning experiences into the one column, and it makes sense. So you'll see here, although it's a little bit jumbled up on this original template, when it's printed out it comes out in our logical order that we desire, with the tuning in, content and learning experiences, how we'll know they've actually learnt, and how we're going to modify for the various students in our class. And you'll see all the way through it follows that order. So coming back here, people need to put their planning in here. Once again, I've added lots of different tips and tools for planning within Tuning In. These are the questions we can ask for the content part of Tuning In. In Tuning In we can plan for students too. The role of teachers within Tuning In, questions we can ask within the Tuning In cycle. Then also looking at the learning experiences. So what sort of questions can we ask ourselves as we plan for Tuning In? And what are some of the possible thinking strategies and tools to employ within Tuning In? A lot of this is the work of the IB and Kath Murdoch, Trevor McKenzie, etc., a whole group of them. Once again, I've also added in here formative assessment, questions to ask when planning for formative assessment. And in this section here, I've also added tools for differentiation. So obviously questions we can ask ourselves, and also tools for differentiation, so size, time, level of support, input, difficulty, output, participation, alternate, substitute curriculum, etc. Just to give people that guide and that help and that prompt as they plan. So this goes through all the way. Each section has their own unique element. So what to do within finding out, what we can possibly do within sorting out, etc. All the way through, right down to the bottom. To make it easier for people to plan, you simply click this, and rather than taking up the entire screen, it just takes up that one section of the unit planner when planning. And if you want to jump back and forth and go back to Tuning In content, you click on the side here, and it will just take you there. So good changes. SEQTA's have come through for us. So the next part is resources. Pretty straightforward here as well. I've just added that we list the resources that we have, and obviously as we continue to plan and we continue to co-design with our students, we begin to add resources through the journey. The student resources as well can be popped on here too. I'll just make a little note that we ensure that we practice academic honesty and that we reference our sources to the appropriate parties. So we're being academically honest and modelling that to our students as well. And lastly, we come down to our reflection. And the reflection boxes are actually in the right order, which is good. And then we have, once again, questions from principles into practice, questions that can prompt our reflection all the way through, and questions that can come here as well. So on this email, I'm also attaching a PDF of the final unit planner that I've put together as an exemplar for us all. It follows the same structure, so the concepts, objectives, global context, inquiry, factual, conceptual, debatable questions, etc. IB, ATL, skill category, MIP cluster, specific learning experiences, how I'm actually going to be teaching these skills. The MIP objectives, description of task, and the relationship with the statement of inquiry. The next step is for SEQTA to actually extract this information for us directly to our assessment task, marks book setup. That would be awesome. Content, learner profile focus. And I've also just added here to help us, and so making sure that we've got that, we're really quite thorough in our planning. If you wish to, I've just sort of placed this sort of a ACARA strand that I'm going to be focusing on from our skills and content scope and sequence here as well. Yeah, so all the way through, this still needs some work, this unit planner. It's not a, obviously it's a work in progress, but needs some work as well. So yeah, thank you. Please pass on any feedback or ideas that you have, and if you are happy with this, especially Raul and Jade, can you let me know? Because and also Ben, because I can make one that's standard for, that's specific for design, specific for arts, and specific for Christian studies as well. So thanks.